victims, but all dead at 9:44 p.m. with their choice of a pair of scissors. The autopsies confirmed extreme cases of insomnia. All victims had been awake for at least 72 hours. At that stage of sleep-deprived delirium, none of the victims would have known what was a dream and what was real. All we could do was pray that no more victims were claimed and that the details faded away into oblivion. All evidence has been shredded, and it seems that even thinking about what happened here in Yokohama is enough to ensure that you meet the same terrible end.
Oh God! Somebody stop the machine! Oh God! Somebody stop the machine! Somebody stop the machine!
I think I'm gonna be sick. Happiness was fleeting. He had no idea his life would be pulled apart. His name was Phineas Cage. A father of two, and a loving husband, who worked in a candy factory that was most well known for its various sorts and flavors of taffy. A man named Keigo Takashi was the factory owner, a wretched waste of life who was universally disliked by all who worked for him. Although he would act unbothered, he was alone in this world, and this solitude hurt. And he would never say it, but he was envious of Phineas Cage. Phineas was well liked and had a beautiful wife and two children who would visit him at work from time to time. He was the only one the other workers would listen to. They simply humored Mr. Takashi because they worked for him, but they would never go the extra mile for him like they would for Phineas. Because of this, to Mr. Takashi, Phineas Cage was nothing more than a threat. One night, in a fit of hysteria, after what had felt like a fever dream, he awoke with one thing on his mind. Phineas Cage must die. I've worked too hard to earn my place here, to be usurped by a nobody. The obsession and madness only amplified as he formulated a plan. I own a factory. Killing him in a tragic accident should be no problem. I just have to find a way to turn off the cameras by whichever machines I choose, and that is easily done. There's nothing a little bribe to the security team can't fix. The real question is how I am going to make it look like an accident. The desperate and wicked gears in his head started twisting and whirling as he planned his first murder with glee. Meanwhile, Phineas had just finished reading a bedtime story to his children and was laying in bed, with his wife completely unaware of the horrible fate that awaited him. He slept without trouble and kissed her good morning without a care in the world. He ate breakfast with his family and said goodbye to his two daughters, wishing them a good day at school. He kissed his wife goodbye for what he was unaware would be the last time, and headed to the factory, blissfully unaware that a trap had already been set, and that he was about to die. He punched in and walked over to his machine. He climbed up to his usual post, but before he could reach the controls, his foot slipped on a mysterious liquid, flinging him helplessly over the balcony and onto the conveyor belt below. It all seemed to happen in a mere instant, and he was left disoriented from the fall. Before he could recover, the conveyor belt somehow switched into its highest velocity, now in the process of rapidly launching him into the taffy puller at the end of the production line. His terrified screams did nothing to save him from what happened next. His coworkers were frantically scrambling about, trying to find an emergency override to stop the machine as they saw poor Phineas cage in absolute terror on the way to his doom. It was no use. The emergency controls were jammed, and despite their best efforts, one of the sharp blades on this machine found purchase in Phineas's skull. It launched straight through the prefrontal cortex, and then with a sickening motion, the machine proceeded to pull at his brain as if it were taffy. He was dead on impact. There was no suffering from the killing blow, or from the rest of the machine parts gutting him while turning the batch of taffy that was once a lovely bubblegum pink into a sickening shade of crimson red. The workplace was filled with screams. Their desperate cries were all in vain. The machine stopped only when the job was done, and only when Phineas's body was completely destroyed. Only then had the culprit arrived, seemingly out of breath.
Mr. Takashi, where were you? Phineas is dead. There's been a terrible accident,
said one of the workers as they desperately were trying not to hurl from seeing the grotesque display.
I know. I saw the fall from my office. I tried to stop it, but nothing was working. I first ran to the machine to stop a directory, but the lever was stuck in place. Then I ran to the main controls when I heard him scream, but they were overheating. Because the machine was somehow at the maximum velocity. Finally, as a last resort, I booked it to the emergency shutdown to stop production completely, but I was too late. I couldn't save him. No matter what I tried, Phineas is dead.
Several months passed before the factory was up and running again. The tainted taffy batches were discarded, and emergency financial aid was offered to all employees as they were out of work. Mr. Takashi now had every excuse to hire new workers. New safeguards were installed over the balcony to ensure that this would never happen again, and what could be salvaged of Phineas's body was retrieved so that he could receive a proper burial. Mr. Takashi was proud of himself. The authorities declared it was a freak accident. He had gotten away with murder. He could finally be free of all his former subordinates, or at least he could be free of most of them. Phineas's body may have been gone, but not his vengeful spirit. He knew what Mr. Takashi did and didn't do, and he knew that he lost his life because of him. Phineas was not an angry person in life, but that blade to his skull caused a personality change as it pierced through. His spirit resembled the product of what was used to kill him, and Mr. Takashi was blissfully unaware that his murder victim, who had recently developed a lust for his blood, was coming for him.